Hello and thanks for checking out TheChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts. Hey everyone, checking in on the MJ space. Same names as yesterday, but I did add tilt into the mix. I smashed my light, so my lighting's off, but I think it's good enough. So we're looking at CGC. I ended up taking profit today. Today was a profit-taking kind of day. The S&P 500 pulled back pretty significantly and then ripped to all-time highs after hours with Apple bullish earnings. The S&P 500 is still very strong, but that initial weakness and dump on the S&P 500 combined with some weakness in CGC set the stage for a consolidation day for most of the names in the MJ space. And so after seeing 2 days of significant gains, I was looking to take profit this morning. And on a day like that, I head into the morning with sell orders filled out, and I just need to click one button to exit. I exited CGC right after the open because I looked at that and I said, okay, we saw that red flags that I described in the video yesterday. We saw a lower open compared to 5260. We opened at 52.10, and we saw a little pullback right away. So that's enough for me. I don't care if it keeps running. Good enough. 2-day big bull move. Week maker yesterday. Lock it in. Find the next trade. That being said, we saw a quick pullback, and then we saw a big shift. Here's the 5-minute time frame. So a quick pullback, and then we started to see the bulls show up, and the volume was very normal to start the morning, declining volume as is most of the time. That's the case after the bell rings, and then the bull volume started again. And we broke resistance. I said, oh man, are we doing this again with a weak start? Trap those shorts and then see bullish strength. So I did re-enter a position, but only with a very short-term mindset. So initially I sold at the open above 52. I then re-entered a little bit late. I entered on just below the high of the day because I was confident we were going to break it. So I entered in the 52.30s. And then we knew that we had to break 52.60. We broke 52.60 by 8 pennies and then pulled back 0.5%. That's all I needed to see. That's another red flag for me. So I sold and locked in a little short-term day maker and some icing on the cake, and then was done with CGC for the rest of the day. The red flag again, 8 cents of follow through after a key resistance break, straight into a 0.5% pullback. We did get a new higher high even after that, but we only broke resistance by 6 cents, straight into a pullback. Every time we broke resistance, I would see shares on the ask undercutting. It would be the kind of thing where if we break, buy the ask up to 52.55, and then all we have to do is break 52.60 to see a clear bull break, and then we'd start to see asks drop in 53, 51, and it was just selling pressure on the ask and not in a comfortable position after the 2-day bull move, just consistent reminders that consolidation is likely coming, and we ended up getting a lot of volatility from there with a pullback and a solid 2% bounce, and then a fade into the end of the day. The low of the day aligned with correlation of the S&P 500, but the S&P 500, let's just look at this because, again, I'm always talking about correlations, but the correlations shift multiple times throughout the day. So if I'm looking at CGC in the foreground and SPY in the background, we can see that CGC was more volatile to start. Here's the weakness. SPY dumped down here in the background just as CGC was starting to dump. SPY hit the low of the day. It looks like CGC did get one more leg down, but look at how correlated this bounce is. This bounce is very similar, and then right here is where it splits. SPY sees continuation, and CGC continues to fade. So very correlated on the bounce, and then the correlation breaks favoring the SPY bulls over CGC, and the CGC bears were favored. And it was favoring the CGC bulls initially. We saw SPY weakness, and CGC headed to the high of the day. SPY hit a low of the day in the first 30 minutes as CGC hit a high of the day. So that correlation did a complete 180 in how they were reacting, and as day traders, we are always watching to see how that correlation is constantly shifting. So where it ends up, we close near the low of the day, and we're due for daily consolidation. The last daily higher low was 46.64, and the bull move that we've seen since then, we just ran 13% with no daily consolidation. That's significant on such a massive ticker in the space now, big time market cap. So we're now looking at, if we break the low of today, tomorrow, 50.22, then we have the daily consolidation, just looking for a daily higher low to form. The hourly RSI at this point, not too beat up. if we were to drop down and see significant weakness, I would love to see an opportunity for hourly oversold conditions in the 48s, looking for that daily higher low to form, but I'd be surprised if we saw that much weakness. So it all depends on a change in the hourly trend now. The hourly chart has not bounced. It was a pullback all day today. So we know that the next time we bounce on the hourly for CGC, we're going to look for a lower high compared to 52.74. Anything under that level is an hourly lower high. So we need an hourly trend change to be confident the daily higher low has been established, and that's not going to happen anytime soon with the current hourly setup. It's probably going to take another day or two if the bulls are going to shift that hourly trend. ACB gave us a big old fake out. So let's go over ACB. And I did take a loss today on ACB, and I'll talk about that as I pull up ACB. So ACB has bad timing. We have now seen 2 fake outs. The last time ACB broke bullish was the day that CGC had a fake out and a big pullback from its equilibrium that broke bull and saw no follow through and then dropped down to lower lows. ACB faked out that day, and we faked out again today. So again, if ACB had broken bullish above 923 and 930, the 2 resistance levels that we're watching, if that had happened on Friday when CGC was all bull, or yesterday when CGC was all bull, I think we'd have a very different result. But on a day like today, not the kind of day you want to be trying to break out. And there was a rumor that sparked more Coca-Cola beverage company rumors with APHA and ACB. There was an article. Again, it's just repeat from what we've seen in the past, but that added to the bull volume. So that was a spike. And then you see the key technical breaks that caused traders like myself to get involved. That caused the volume spike on the day. That was the highest volume we've seen in over a month, but a big upper wick and a big red flag for that break. So how did I play it? Well, we were looking at this move, and it was a very significant bull move. I believe the article probably hit right around here, but as soon as you break 923 and 930, you start triggering shorts covering and bulls like myself buying. So I made my initial entry at 922, seeing the bull volume pour in, and once we broke 930, I added again, and I was intending on keeping at least half of that for a swing position. So we knew 5-minute consolidation was needed. There was no red flag on this pullback on low bear volume. And at this point, my average was about 926 or so. So with a 926 average, I started to see some red flags. And the red flag that I saw was not on ACB specifically. We did pull back more than would be ideal. This is more pullback than would be a bull flag in my opinion. But the red flags for me were on what CGC was doing at the same time and what SPY was doing at the same time. So let's just see. This was at 1020. CGC on the 5-minute time frame at 1020. Was doing this. So this is 1020, very significant pullback heading to the low of the day. That told me I was very confident that CGC was done. We were going to enter consolidation mode with that much pullback. What was SPY doing at 1020? So at 1020, SPY was hitting a new low of the day. And then it got real ugly towards 11, but weakness was the bottom line. So I said to myself, okay, I don't like this setup. I don't like the fact that ACB is breaking bullish on a day where it looks like CGC is losing momentum. The only way that ACB can keep this up is if profit taking from CGC keeps bull volume pouring into ACB, and we just didn't see that. So what I did was protect my position. I looked to exit. I knew a 5-minute higher low was very likely to form on this pullback, and I made the intention of exiting half of my position just above break even on this bounce. I exited half of my position at 927. So now I'm in a position with a break-even point of about 925. And then as soon as we dropped to a lower low, that was a big red flag, and I exited shortly thereafter. So exited the entirety of my position because we lost the 5-minute uptrend and ended up with a half of a day loser. So the day trade on CGC that I made covered that, but it's the difference between recognizing red flags elsewhere in the market with correlations, trimming my position to lower my risk exposure, and then instead of having a day loser on this pullback where I have to bail from a full position, it's a half day loser where I bail from a half position. And it's a fairly small difference in those two, but when you do this over and over again as a day trader and you're trading 150, 200 days a week or a month, a year, however long it is, that adds up a lot over time. So, and that takes a lot of speed, obviously, as a day trader. But if this were happening on the hourly time frame, same mindset. So that was what happened with ACB. There are definitely a red flag. And at this point, it's going to take a while before the ACB bulls can regain traders' trust for follow through. We've got resistance now at 937. Key support is going to be down at 895, the lowest price we saw on this consolidation. I'm not really interested in ACB at this point. That was the chance for the bulls. And, if they show up with big bull volume tomorrow, that'll say something to me. But if that doesn't happen, just sticking it back on the back burner. Cron, still this weak, weird bounce. I don't like the clarity on it. If you're in a position for the bulls, we have a clear pattern with a higher low every day, 6 days in a row. So as long as that pattern keeps up, the bulls short term don't have anything to worry about. But if we break 1684 tomorrow, that pattern breaks. Again, it is a weekly bear flag at this point, and we do have to be cautious of that fact. I would be surprised if we were to drop straight down to 1547 and just see lower lows, but it is going to be an initial red flag once we do lose the higher low everyday pattern, which is probably going to happen in sometime in the next couple of days, I would imagine. But still keeping that pattern up, so still keeping slight advantage short term for the bulls. APHA oversold bounce underway, solid volume. So we had a lower open, and it was a gap down open by a penny, and a bullish engulfing candlestick. So the oversold bounce is underway on the daily. And anything on the daily under 1012 is a lower high. We are not changing the daily time frame anytime soon. We can very clearly determine that the most likely scenario is going to see a lower high on this daily bounce. To change this trend, we have to see a bounce, set that lower high wherever we top out, pull back for a higher low compared to 733, and then change the daily trend. Until that happens, we have to anticipate that this is just a bounce to cool off oversold conditions, and the bulls still have a lot of proving to do. That being said, we changed the hourly trend with this little higher low and higher high, so our short-term support is down at 742, and the bulls now need to keep the hourly uptrend intact as long as possible to give the bulls as much confidence as possible, because if we were to see just another green day and then lose the hourly uptrend, we would be looking for the potential of a bear flag. But the bull volume decreases the odds of that potential bear flag, in my opinion. It's just whether or not we can get some follow through tomorrow. OGI, so swung OGI, anticipating an all-time high test today. We had news this morning. We got that all-time high, and I entered profit-taking mode. I sold a little bit early because I'm selling CGC. I locked that profit in, and I'm just saying to myself, okay, I'm seeing weakness in the market. I'm seeing some weakness in the MJ sector. I had my week maker yesterday. I'm not giving those gains back. So I did sell OGI, and it was OGRMF hours trading, but I did sell it in the first, let's see, I probably sold it at about maybe the second candlestick of the day, and then we did get another leg up. So again, I sold a little bit early, but with where we closed, I'm perfectly fine with my sell, and pretty much closed where I sold. So no big deal overall, but we have a new all-time high. So an upper wick on the daily. This is an indecision candlestick, so I want to know, is the hourly uptrend intact? And let's go back to OGI. Hourly uptrend is intact, and we had a 15-minute equilibrium into the end of the day. 1014 is a double top. Support is 987 and 976. Break this 15-minute equilibrium bullish tomorrow, and we're going to be looking for an all-time high test. Break it bearish, and we're looking at these two support levels and potential need for a daily higher low to form. So that 15-minute equilibrium is what to be watching first thing tomorrow to indicate whether daily higher low is needed or whether the bulls can see follow through. Hexo top is in for now, gap filled. And we need a daily higher low. Considering that we just made a 40% plus run with no daily higher low established, we can anticipate that that's going to come sooner than later, and here it is. So the hourly RSI, I would like to see an hourly lower high and lower low. We did close right at the low of the day. Our hourly lower high is 1072, so anyone looking to make an entry would love an hourly oversold pullback. After an all-time high, if you can get hourly oversold, in general, you get a very solid bounce. So we're going to look for a pullback tomorrow. If we break 1042, we're going to be looking down at 1026 and 1013. And if we break those levels and head towards 10 psychological, that's when this hourly RSI is going to be approaching oversold conditions. So we'll be keeping an eye on Hexo for a daily higher low to form. I'm very comfortable looking at hourly oversold bounces, especially coming off all-time highs, but when we are in daily uptrends. And that's what Curaleaf was today, and we'll look at that when we get to it. TRST. So TRST has been one of these names, And we're seeing in the MJ sector, names are distinguishing themselves. Stronger names, weaker names. TRST is one of the weaker names. We had a nice bounce, like a lot of names had a nice bounce, but we're giving it back. And even IAN, I like IAN fundamentally. It's one of the US plays that I'm watching. It's one of the US plays I have a core position in, but I have to be real with myself. IAN in the USMJ sector is one of the weaker names right now, and it's giving some red flags just the way that TRST is. So we have this weakness leading up into the bounce. We have our low of 882. We have our high of 1024, and now we're heading back down to 882. And if we break that level, we're just dropping to lower lows. If we can hold that level, we'll look for a daily tightening range and equilibrium. But the amount of the pullback we've seen at this point, let's see, the range was $1.42, and we've already pulled back from that high $1.06. So we pulled back well beyond the midway point of this range, and we're looking down at that 882 low tomorrow. Anything on the hourly chart under 972 is just a lower high. VFF. So again, not the right day for a bull break, but we did get a bull break. The 4-hour equilibrium broke bullish. And this is another one of those examples where you want to be watching both tickers, because if you're only watching Canada, Canada broke both resistances, broke the second resistance by 7 cents, and then pulled back. And otherwise, you would have no idea why did that happen. That's a fake out. We broke both resistances and then pulled back. But on the US side, we rejected from the second resistance by the penny and then pulled back. So it makes a lot of sense when you're looking at the US side. It makes a lot less sense when you're looking at the Canadian side. It's why you got to be watching both. So still holding on. No major red flags. We did recover a good little bit there. And we are looking at an hourly higher low. I'm ignoring this after hours anomaly, but I'm looking at this support of 1233 tomorrow. If bulls can hold 1233 tomorrow, they're just fine. And they're going to try and make their way back up to the $13 double top and give it another chance. But if we break 1233, we zoom back out to the daily and we look for the need to form a daily higher low compared to 1137. 1137 is our last daily higher low. That's a key support level. But it's all about the short-term double top of 13 and the hourly support of 1233. T-God's impressive. T-God bull volume is impressive. The follow-through in a green day today is impressive, especially in the consolidation day that we saw today. So we had the 4-hour inverse head and shoulders confirm, and we broke both resistance levels, 435 and 447. So this is now a daily trend change. The daily higher low is 416. We got the higher high by breaking 435, and the next resistance level that we're looking at is going to be up at 474 after the high of today. So the weekly higher low has formed, and now we're going to look for a weekly lower high to form, but there's a lot of space where that can happen. So let's see how long the bulls can maintain the hourly uptrend with the higher low of 439, and how long we can see this bull bounce continue. But again, it is notable the past couple days, specifically today, that bull move. VGW, I believe, had news as well today. Profit taking, top is set for now, close at the low of the day. Anything above 389 is a higher low on the daily chart. Keeping an eye out for hourly oversold. That's not going to happen anytime soon. Potentially a bear flag on the hourly at the end of the day. If we break 449 first thing, we're going to be looking down at a lack of support. 445, there's a little gap. And then 412 is the next clear support level. So again, just looking for a daily higher low to form. Look at our visual guide of the 12-period exponential. But no red flags on the daily chart overall. Just clearly we're in consolidation mode and we need a higher low. Labs, making our way towards key support now. So we need a higher low compared to 481. The hourly RSI is just about oversold. If we see any weakness tomorrow, we'll be watching for the potential of an hourly oversold bounce to try and play off that 481 support, to try and form the higher low, to stay in the daily equilibrium. That is the key support that we are approaching. And it might not look like it, but we are still 7+% above that support level. So we can easily pull back a few percent tomorrow, be an hourly oversold, and still have a few percent of space before we break that support level. Potential bottom fishing playoff 481 to be watching for. Oils, daily inside bar. Pretty surprising of that weaker open after how strong we closed. And the hourly chart pulling back with a little lower high and lower low. And this is just the penny stock game going on here. The fact that we closed at 72 and the first hour of trading today we're down at 64, a 10% pullback. That's pretty high risk, high reward. But we're looking at support of 62, and if that breaks, then daily consolidation is underway and we have to form a higher low compared to 51. The chart that I was looking for to compare yesterday that I couldn't think of that was like oils was ZYNE. Same equilibrium on the daily, much different result. This has been such a mover. And again, this is the kind of thing where, I saw it day number 1. I said, pick the wrong name. I chose CVSI. I took a small loss on CVSI, and I've just had to watch it every single day. And it's perfectly fine. I can't tell you, it's hard for me to express how little FOMO I feel looking at this chart. I can look back and say, yeah, it would have been great. And, it was a clear entry and I just chose the wrong ticker, but it's not going to distract me from trading other names and making profit on CGC and OGI and all these other names, just missing out on a good one for ZYNE. But no big deal. There's always another one. So for ZYNE, we're looking at the pattern of a higher low every single day, and that's now intact 7 days in a row. So bulls want to hold 1187 tomorrow. If we lose the hourly uptrend, I'd say the most important short-term support is 1187 and 1289 is resistance. We're over that after hours, but if we can't break 1289 during regular trading tomorrow morning, and if we break 1187, that tells us our temporary top is in and a daily higher low has to form. But if we can hold 1187, the bulls are still in control. Curaleaf. So Curaleaf got that hourly oversold bounce, and it was a pretty good one. We did see some profit taking at the end of the day, and the hourly trend has not changed. So we always have to distinguish that, because an hourly oversold bounce where the trend has changed has more follow through than an hourly oversold bounce that is just coming right off the low. So we did bounce 1274 up to 1374, 7% plus bounce, but we have to form a higher low. Bulls must hold 1274 tomorrow and then break 1374 to change the hourly trend and to tell us our daily higher low has been established. If we can't do that and we drop down and break support, that's a red flag because this bounce has cooled off RSI levels. And the only reason I was interested in looking at a play here for an entry was because of the hourly RSI. I missed this entry, and this was a lesson for me where I had a great bid that ended up, it would have caught the bottom of CURLF, the US ticker, by 4 or 5 pennies, and I pulled it, seeing weakness in the S&P 500 and weakness in the sector. I said, again, just protecting gains, conservative approach, not giving anything back that I made yesterday, and I would have had a really nice entry on a flip position like I was planning. I went against my game plan, and I tried to lower that bid thinking things would get a bit more extreme, didn't get more extreme, and I missed this solid bounce. So that's a little lesson for myself to stick to the trade game plan, but I would much rather have a mistake where I miss out on opportunity than giving profit back. So we have to change that hourly trend tomorrow to see this bounce follow through to be confident that our daily higher low has been established. CWeb, still weak, close to a bear break. We do have a tightening range on the daily. Key support is 2490 and 2428. If we break 2490, then we zoom out to the weekly chart and we're not done consolidating on the weekly. We're looking for a weekly higher low to form, inside bar, but if this daily equilibrium breaks bearish, then our weekly higher low has not been established yet. And it's as simple as that. Just key support tests approaching and a weak close near the low of the day. IAN, I'm going to get ready to start scaling back into IAN. So I have not re-entered any positions from IAN. After scaling out, I still have a bit of a core that is still profitable from entry down here. But I did a different strategy with Curaleaf. I've been flipping it and lowering my core and trading around that core. For IAN, I just scaled out and I haven't touched it since. So I'm going to be looking to enter for an hourly oversold bounce like my game plan was today for Curaleaf that I blew. But we're looking for hourly oversold, 641 is support. We saw a bounce at the end of the day, but if we see weakness tomorrow morning, I'll be looking to begin scaling in, anticipating a daily higher low compared to 591, and then we would look for a lower high and a daily equilibrium and tightening range. But again, just a position to get into an hourly oversold bounce, and I can flip it for some short-term gains. If I get a position the same size as my core, and I flip it for 2%, that lowers my core average by 2%. So I will be interested in IAN tomorrow. There's something in the back of my mind for this sector that's always in the back of my mind, and that's the S&P 500 is absolutely full control bulls, as bullish a market environment as you can ask for, and we are still seeing a little bit of weakness in some of these names. So I always ask myself, what's going to happen if SPY sees weekly consolidation that is inevitable? We haven't consolidated on the weekly time frame in over 5 weeks. We know it's going to happen. And are these names going to be positioned well or not to absorb that? So like I just said earlier, IAN is giving me red flags. That we have not changed the daily trend. The weekly chart's in a downtrend. So regardless of whether I like the fundamentals or not, I'm not going to ride a sinking ship. So I'll probably set my cost basis for my core. I'll set it at break even. And if I get stopped out, then back to the drawing board in terms of trying to establish a position. But again, the fact that IAN looks the way that it does on the weekly, while SPY has not seen any weekly consolidation during this period, does make me protective. TRUL, still in an equilibrium. High, low, lower, high. We're looking for a higher low compared to 1643. Every single day is a lower high, 7 days in a row. Hourly time frame will get oversold if we break the low of today, tomorrow. So if we break 1715 hourly oversold, and again, just watching for the potential of an hourly oversold bottom fishing play off of 1643 support to try and stay in this tightening daily pattern. OH. Got an all-time high, no follow-through. That's certainly a bit of a red flag. On the daily time frame, we don't have a higher low since 1070. Every single day has been a higher low for the last 9 days in a row. That broke today. So clearly daily consolidation is underway, but we are anticipating a daily higher low is going to form. Hourly time frame, have we confirmed the trend change? We have not. So we've lost the hourly uptrend, but we haven't confirmed a downtrend yet. We would have to break the low of today to see the hourly lower high and lower low, confirming that hourly downtrend. Tilt, getting tight daily inside bar. Most important levels for me are 256 support and 302 resistance. Bulls are holding on just fine. They're trying to build this base of support for a higher low and change the daily trend with a break of 302. So I was interested in scaling in for a higher low on tilt. Didn't pull back as much as I was looking for. Focused on other plays. And again, it's risk to reward opportunity. And if I can trade with X dollars on CGC comfortably, for tilt, it would be 10 to 20% of that amount. So I'd much rather go for a full CGC position for a 2% move. I would need an 8% move on my tilt position to match that. So and that certainly happens, but it's just opportunity. And for me, the opportunity is with liquidity. So I probably won't be trading tilt. And again, I have to trade these US tickers, and liquidity is even weaker over on this side of things. Less than $1 million traded. So we'll keep an eye if that bull break does happen. And if I do enter, it will be a small position. KHRN, gap up open into profit taking. So resistance is 375 and 374. That's a double top. Has the hourly trend been lost? We lost the hourly uptrend, but we have not confirmed the downtrend. It would be a lower high and lower low to confirm the hourly downtrend. If that happens, we're looking for a daily higher low compared to 298. I'm done talking. All right. We'll see what tomorrow brings. S&P 500 bullish after hours thanks to Apple. We're going back to some old school farm video. I'll get outside with a camera and let you know my game plan for the current growing season. Pretty much a whole bunch of trellising. Trellising peas up the porch, cucumbers up the side of the house, tomatoes on the porch, experimenting with a whole bunch of big pots. Haven't really grown out of pots before, but space is limited, so giving it a go. And I hope you all do good things. We'll see you tomorrow. What's going on there, bird? Hey.